Welcome to the run-in live from the O2 Arena, where there are tens of thousands of fans outside because for 2 nights, WWE have taken over, and we are just a number of hours away from Money in the Bank. So we've come up here to Talk a Social, our little private studio, with some friends who are going to cheer enthusiastically to look ahead to that show. And speaking of friends, it wouldn't be an episode of the run-in here on BT Sport without our great friend all the way from Canada, Ariel Helwani, darts influencer, licensed to shill. Apparently, he asks very difficult questions.
Yeah, oh,
I've
wow,
never seen it.
deep
I've never
cut,
seen it.
deep
Michael
cut.
Cole said it. Can we trust him? Can we trust Cole?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the man, and it's great to be here in London, England. All right.
Yeah.
It worked.
Listen,
it. It worked for Mick Foley. It did not work for me. It's an honor to be here. I feel like an honorary Brit here, working for BT Sport, the last major WWE event before the big rebrand. On July 18th, we become TNT Sports. We have a lot to celebrate. It has been 31 long years since a pay-per-view was in this great country. 31 long years.
Well, no, we had a couple of insurrections and rebellions and things.
I'm not talking those direct-to-DVD events. I'm talking about the real Big Daddies. I can't wait for tomorrow night.
Talk to me about tomorrow night. Obviously, the atmosphere is something we're very proud of in Europe, in the UK, in London. The noise we can create in these venues. How excited are you for tomorrow night to be in there for Money in the Bank? One of the big pay-per-views. This is the Big Four, really, isn't it?
Absolutely, if not the Big Five. I think tonight's crowd was great, and I think that was just a taste of what's to come tomorrow. I like the card very much. I love that they did the SmackDown event on Friday, same venue. Because did you see the ramp? I love stuff like this. I'm a total nerd when it comes to stuff like this. Like that, it was like it's like almost like the UFC ramp. It wasn't like the long one. It was the one that snakes around the crowd, makes it feel like a big boxing event. I love that type of stuff, and it reminds me of Montreal back in February. They had SmackDown on Friday. They had the PLE on Saturday. I don't know. That's the pound-for-pound greatest crowd of all time, Montreal in February. You got a lot to live up to, but I think this crowd is ready to go. I can't wait for Saturday.
Obviously, a big event with BT Sport. You see a few of the big names. You get your interviews in. Who have you spoke to this week?
Oh, my God. What a week. You know yourself, Rob Armstrong. You know yourself. What a week it has been. Earlier today, we spoke to the Usos. If you're watching right now live on BT Sport, you just saw that conversation. What a great chat we had with them. Beautiful moment. They said when they lost the belts in L.A. to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they were on the canvas, down on the, like on the ground, and they held hands, and they just looked up at the sky and were just so thankful of their journey and how far they have come. After the loss, it gave me goosebumps hearing that. I was thinking of them in the womb together, 2 twins, now having this moment, main event of WrestleMania. So that was beautiful stuff. Check it out. And also, we spoke to Kevin Owens. That is coming out later. We spoke to L.A. Knight. He's pretty famous around these parts. That was a great chat. I really enjoyed that one as well. And there's more to come later on tomorrow.
See Ariel using that LA Knight thing there earlier. He was trying to get in LA Knight's ear, telling him he was a knockoff Rock, a knockoff
Well, he is.
Steve Austin.
He is a Rock.
And now,
am I wrong?
You're a knockoff LA Knight.
Am I wrong that he's a bit of a knockoff of Rock and Stone Cold? And by the way, if you're going to be a knockoff of anyone, you might as well be a knockoff of the Rock and Stone Cold, right? 2 of the greatest of all time. So it's not an insult. Let's not get too sensitive here, Armo. But I'm just saying there's a lot of similarities. The vest, the let me talk to you. It's all a derivative of someone. And if that's your thing, God bless.
All right, well, before my feelings get hurt anymore, let's move on to talk about some of these matches. Let's start with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, Trish Stratus. It's that sort of perfect blend between experienced ones who've been all the way to the top and then some new names in there. What excites you about that match?
Well, first off, I'm very excited that on Canada Day, any Canadians here? Perfect. Great. Well done. Thank you, guys. One of you could have lied, by the way, just to make me feel good. I'm the Canadian. On Canada Day, tomorrow's Canada Day, July 1st, we have arguably the greatest female Canadian wrestler of all time. I don't even know if it's arguable, right? Trish Stratus, legend, living legend, coming back to be a part of her first ladder match. That's a huge deal. I'm very excited about that. But ultimately, I don't think that she is going to win. I think this match is all about 2 people. It's either Becky Lynch or Io Sky, and I was blown away with Io Sky in Puerto Rico. What a match that was. That was unbelievable, the way she performed and the way the crowd got behind her with the uno, dos. Guys, we need to be a little more interactive here because you guys are leaving me hanging on every single thing. I mean, come on, golly. I need some love. I need some interaction. Yes. Anyway, I'm going to turn on you guys, and then you're going to see Helwani, and it's going to be a problem for all of you. Io Sky is my pick. It's going to be tremendous on Saturday night.
There's a reason Ariel was a little annoyed after talking about Trish. He walks around backstage. He's become a bit of a big dog now. Met Trish, and she goes, "Oh, Ariel Helwani. Nice to meet you."
She didn't even say the Helwani part. She just said, "Oh, Mario." Thank you.
There we go. We can take the run into Italy.
There's been some great Marios over the years, right? You know, Mario
some
Brothers.
Super Marios, in fact. So some of the best.
I've been called worse, put it that way.
Oh, yeah, mostly by BT staff.
Wow.
Let's move on with the card. Seth freaking Rollins?
Yes.
We'll use the full name. Versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. It's become a real sort of renaissance for Finn. He's kind of been a little bit of a comic role in the Judgment Day, but now it's full-on serious mode, and that is going to be an unbelievable match tomorrow night, isn't it?
By the way, I've never heard a Brit say renaissance. Shout out to you for the anglicizing of the French word.
We can't count to tres, but we can say renaissance.
Us French
Different
Canadians
languages,
would
baby.
say renaissance. But in any event, Finn Balor, one of my favorite wrestlers. Tremendous physique, by the way. Pound for pound, maybe the greatest abs in the history of the business, if I do say so myself. Thank you. Yeah. And Seth Rollins, I do think it's time to drop the freaking, if I'm being honest, now that he's the champ. I think it's run its course, but he has had an amazing run, almost as good as his wardrobe. This, to me, is like Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. Like, this is for the hardcores. You know these guys can wrestle 100 times, and they'll always deliver. They'll never be involved in a dud match. And so I'm really looking forward to it. This is, there's some matches perhaps on the card that are for show. This is for go. You know what I'm saying, Armro?
Of course. It's the throwback to, I think it was SummerSlam 2016. Obviously, the buckle bomb, but not buckle, onto the barricade outside.
Yeah.
The injured Finn, and gave him what should have been the best moment of his career and kind of turned it to the darkest moment of his career. Having that sort of story in the background is something that I feel like a lot of the big matches have had recently that's kind of brought about this interest that's built more and more in WWE over the last year or so.
And can I say something? And you just said it, that last statement, over the last year or so. I do believe this is as a result of the greatest booker in the history of the business, one Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, a.k.a. Hunter Hearst Helmsley. With him at the charge, with him holding the pencil, as they say in the business, there's been a lot of this. One thing that I've always disliked in the past is that, you'll have two guys who have a history, and then they'll meet up again, and the history is not acknowledged. It has to be acknowledged. We're smart. We understand. Little things like, oh, they were called something here, and then they come up and they're a different persona, different name. Like, no, don't insult the audience. And so I love the fact that even though this happened 7 years ago, it's still being referenced. That's the way it should be in sport, right? If a team played each other 7 years ago in the finals, they would still reference it. So I love this sort of thing. Don't insult the audience. And you said it at the end of that statement. Over the past year, a lot of that has been done more.
It's like Jose Mourinho says, this is wrestling heritage. You've got to remember the good stuff. You've got to remember the history.
Soon to be a Saudi Arabian coach, Jose Mourinho?
I don't know. You're the football influencer.
I have a lot of football takes. Who wants my football takes? Okay, perfect.
Ah, yeah, resounding
those for the
boos.
post-show.
That's what I like being brought to the stage. Thanks. You can come again. Dear me. Anyway, who do you think the crowd will be going for tomorrow night? Finn versus Seth. I think there'll be a lot of Irish people in attendance, but Seth, so popular now.
Yeah, I think Seth. I mean, he's got the great entrance. So, that's not bad. That's like a Wish version of his entrance. Sort of like LA Knight is the Wish. No, I'm joking. That was a joke. No.
All right.
No,
Before you go
no.
in on LA Knight again, LA Knight is one of the big favourites
Yes.
in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. And before we talk about that match, BT Sports' Sam Stride caught up with him to see how he was doing ahead of that.
Yeah.
Talk about Roman. I mean, that's the guy right there where you're talking about a 1,000-day reign. To be the guy to end that's a whole other level. So there's things to consider there. There's directions to consider. What's the best route? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it has to happen. personally, professionally, it has to happen.
It has to happen on Roman, or just you have to win that briefcase?
I have to win that briefcase first and foremost.
And then you have to cash in on Roman.
And we will find out where that goes.
And then you have to be...
I have to determine what's the best circumstance for me.
What would be your ideal circumstance if you could just lay it all out on paper and go, I'm going to go from point A to point B, and this is how?
Well, I mean, again, that's definitely Roman 100% then, because now I'm the top guy with the top title, and I'm the guy that ended that reign, that ended that streak, that was able to be the one to say, hey, this guy, who now some are considering possibly the best of all time, the longest reigning champion, or at least the longest reigning champion in the modern era, to be the guy to say, oh, hey, hi, I'm going to come along and ruin that for you. That'd be pretty big.
LA Knight there, head of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, I hear that the pop was loudest for LA Knight tonight at SmackDown. Is that true? Yeah! Oh, that was satisfying.
He paid them. He paid them.
He did?
Yeah.
I paid them. Let's talk about that match, because it's such a good one for the opportunity for a new star to be built. Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and your best mate, Logan Paul, who's... And if you mention an energy drink, I'm throwing you off stage.
I'm not mentioning. I don't want to get in trouble with compliance. I do want to say, much love to LA Knight. I was kind of kidding, so no one clip this off and get me in trouble like you kids like to do on the internet. It's a great, great story. 20 years in the game. For him to finally get this moment and then this explosion of love from the crowd, how could you not be happy for someone like that? Historically, though, this is coming a little too soon in his story. And what I mean by that is, when you get a story like this where the crowd is almost willing someone to the top, like a Daniel Bryan, like a Kofi Kingston, like a Sami Zayn, who I maintain and will maintain till I die, should have won in Montreal, but I digress. It doesn't happen just yet. And so I don't think LA Knight is going to win tomorrow night. I don't think he is going to grab this briefcase. This briefcase is going to be grabbed by arguably the greatest star in professional wrestling today. A jack of all trades, a Swiss Army knife. He is a host, he is an entrepreneur, he is an athlete, he's a great boxer as well. He's my friend and yours, the Maverick, Logan Paul. And guess what? I have a prediction. You know it, my man. I have a prediction. Not a spoiler. I have a prediction. You know who's going to help him win on Saturday night? JJ himself. KSI. That's what's going to happen. He's going to help him win. And it's going to be prime entertainment.
We have a few Logan Paul fans, KSI fans. I feel like we might have a few Butch fans.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Butch.
It's the hometown boy.
Birmingham's finest.
And a hell of a wrestler as well. And what an opportunity this is for him. He's probably waited a little longer than he should have done for his big moment on the main roster. But tomorrow night, it's also a chance to kick Logan Paul in the head.
Yes.
Which could make him.
Won't happen. Maybe he'll get to his ankles, given the height discrepancy. No, just the height. I was just talking about the height. Anyway, great story, Butch. I don't know if you guys know this, but the lone Englishman on the card, unless something happens in the next 24 hours or so, he is the lone Englishman on this card. So big spot for him, arguably the biggest moment of his career. I know you've been covering him for a long time as well. He'll always be PD to me, but Butch will have a big night tomorrow. He'll just fall a little short.
All right, then. And very quickly, a prediction. What are Ricochet and Logan Paul going to do?
Oh, they're going to do great stuff en route to Logan Paul winning. That's basically what it's going to be, but it's going to be great. How could they top Royal Rumble? I don't know. That's why we watch the cards, but I suspect they'll do great stuff.
All right, then. Well, that's all for the first part. In the next part, I'm afraid I've got some bad news. We'll see you in a bit. Yes, welcome back to the run-in here in the O2 Arena ahead of Money in the Bank. And as you can see, it wasn't bad news at all. It was very, very good news. We are joined, very lucky to be joined by Wade Barrett. How are you?
I'm great. You almost got some real bad news. I walked in this room about 10 minutes ago and I heard Ariel Helwani claim that Finn Balor had the greatest abs in the history of this industry. I almost walked out.
Wow.
Wade Barrett 2015 is number one.
All right,
Then they tempted me back.
I didn't know you were in the room. Had I known you were in the room at the time, I would have said
well,
you.
They gave me a couple of beers, so I was like, all right, I'll come back. You've got me.
What was the routine?
Honestly, I lived off black coffee, bananas, and sit-ups. That was my entire routine. And
to be fair,
it worked, and I was miserable throughout.
Yeah, it sounds rubbish. But were the abs good?
Fun. The abs were good, but the career went downhill when I had the abs, somehow. So, I don't know. Not worth it, guys. Just get a belly.
How is it being back in the UK for an event like this? Because it's been a long time since we've got one of the major premium live events over here.
Yeah, for sure. So for me personally, this is the first time I've been over here with WWE since 2015.
Wow.
So I wasn't at the Cardiff show last year. So it's been a long time for me personally. So to come out tonight and get what was an awesome card tonight, great crowd as always in the O2, and I feel like they're extra excited because of this weekend that we're about to have with Money in the Bank tomorrow. So yeah, really cool being back.
Do you feel like that event in Cardiff last year changed a lot of people's thinking about coming abroad for these big events in the business?
Yeah, I think in general, the way people consume media is the biggest thing that's changed. Once upon a time, you had to be sat watching your pay-per-view at 8 p.m. in the US. Now, with all the stuff we do in Saudi Arabia, we've done some stuff, obviously, over here. We've done stuff in Japan. And I think the numbers, because of the way digital media is consumed these days, it's made it more feasible to come over to places like the UK and put on some of the biggest events. And this really, we always talk about the big four events in WWE, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Well, this is really the big five these days. So I feel like we've got one of the true crown jewel events that we have in WWE.
And could I say something, if I may? Can I shoot for a moment, as
Shoot.
they say in the
Shoot
business?
away.
You know, I'm a big fan of Patrick McAfee. We go way back. He's a great guy. And I'll be honest, when I found out he was leaving SmackDown, I was like, I feel bad for the bloke who's going to step into his shoes. Those are big shoes to fill. He did a tremendous job. And then they put this man in. Can we show some love for this man? The job that he's done on SmackDown. He's done a fantastic job to the point where I'm like, Patrick who? I've forgotten all about Pat. Stay on the internet, Pat. We don't need you anymore. We've got bad news here. You've done a tremendous job, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that. Obviously, Pat's shoes are massive and nobody can replace him. And when I came in, I didn't even think to try and do that. There was no way you were going to see me dancing on the table. Yeah. I'm a completely different cat to him. Pat McAfee, we're all big fans of him. I think he'll always be associated with WWE. I think at times you may see him involved in matches, involved in hosting, maybe guest commentator at times, but yeah, I'm a big fan of him too. But thank you very much for very kind.
Could you tell me about when you got the call to be the lead analyst on SmackDown? What was that like? What were you doing? Did you say yes right away?
Yeah, so I was in NXT for a couple of years. So I left WWE in 2016. I was very unhappy with how my in-ring career was going, so I left and did some other things. I got a call at the beginning of the pandemic to go to NXT in Orlando and help with that, and I embraced that, gave it a shot, really enjoyed the experience, felt that the culture of WWE behind the scenes had changed significantly for the better, and just had a great time down there. And then kind of out of nowhere, I think Pat McAfee ended up doing something with, I think it was ESPN he went to. He got a new gig, or College Game Day, whatever it was. And they were like, look, we've got this opportunity. We really want you to do it. We think you've proven yourself in NXT, and we think you're ready for the main stage on SmackDown. Are you interested? And of course, immediately, yeah, no problem. I'm going to be working with Michael Cole, the GOAT of commentary, and, you know, getting to work with someone with his talent, his experience, is only helping me every week in getting to be the best commentator I can be. So, yeah, massive opportunity, right?
While we have you here, we should talk about the Intercontinental title match tomorrow night. Gunther versus Matt Riddle. And this match, I believe, a few people in this room will have seen before. In London, I believe. We're getting a clap. It's two great performers, but how much has Gunther impressed you?
Gunther's a complete phenom, to be honest with you. I think if he didn't have the Intercontinental Championship, I think we'd already see him competing with the likes of Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for the World Championships. But I think he's on the build still. I think he's in a really good position, and I just think that there's not a single weakness to his game. And the most impressive thing for me is not the chops and the hard-hitting nature.
They are good, though.
They are great. I enjoy that. I enjoy watching Sheamus take those chops more than anything. It's not the technical side of his game. He's a massive guy, and I know from experience it's a lot harder to have the cardio ability in these kind of 25, 30-minute matches when you're a 250-pound plus guy versus some of the guys who are 170, 180 pounds. It's a lot easier because you're not carrying that weight around. So Gunther, I think his cardio ability more than anything else as a heavyweight really impresses me.
Do you think he's added to the prestige of that title again? I think it's up to over 380 days now. Do you think it's made that feel important? When someone takes that off him, that's going to be huge.
Let me tell you, I had that championship 5 times, and the effect I had on the caliber of that championship, I sent it through the basement. So thankfully, prestige from Gunther, and when I tell people now, yeah, I'm a 5-time Intercontinental champion, they're like, whoa, that Gunther, that makes it really special. So yeah, thank you, Gunther.
Let's move on to another guy that I know you faced and teamed with before when he was in WWE in his first stage. Cody Rhodes, who's facing off with Dominic Mysterio. Cody has done some... I think they might be for Dominic. I think those are boos for Dominic. We'll get on to him in a second, but Cody's done some incredible things since his return. Did you ever think that he was capable of that?
Yeah, so Cody left WWE around about the same time I left in 2016, and we were pretty tight. We used to ride together, and we'd share our annoyances and our aggravations with certain parts of the industry. When I left, I'm a bit older than Cody. I knew I needed to step away completely from the industry and just do something else, at least for a while, and hopefully grow that love back. Cody, though, when he left, completely different attitude. He wanted to get straight back into it, somewhere else, rebuild himself, come up with new ideas, go in a new direction, but maintain himself in this industry, which is his kind of family lineage. But I'm not surprised at all that he's achieved the things he's achieved. He's just a brilliant guy. I'd say the creative mindset that he has is above and beyond anyone else I've met in this industry from my generation. So he's inherited that somehow from Dusty. I don't think it's genetic, but he somehow absorbed Dusty's genius for the creative stuff. Once you combine that with the kind of drive he has, I think it's inevitable that he was going to carve up some big opportunities for himself.
Well said.
Go on.
I just wanted to ask you about Dominic Mysterio, the other side of the equation. Rob, I don't know if you remember this, but exactly 1 year ago, I believe it was on July 1st, we did a sit-down interview with Rey Mysterio in Las Vegas prior to last year's Money in the Bank. And Dominic was just there to hang out with his dad. He was off to the side. At the very end, he came into the shot. We had a nice little moment, and that was it. To think of where he has come over the last year and how far he has come and the character that he has become, especially not a good guy, but on the other side of the fence, blows me away. His maturation, his evolution blows me away. What has impressed you most about Dominic Mysterio, especially over the last few months?
Look, I hate taking a pot shot at any young guy coming up in the industry. We all have different pathways to get to WWE. Some get it easier than others. Dominic had a really easy pathway to get into WWE. And I think for a lot of people who have had that same pathway that he has had historically, they've always been in daddy's shadow. They've always been, okay, this guy's only here because of who his famous daddy is, right? What's impressed me most about Dominic is he had a year or two of that, and then he's suddenly come out of his shell completely, gained confidence week after week. And it's really that sustained reaction that he's been getting over the past 6 months or so, whatever it's been, that's more impressive than anything. I've had times in my career when I've gone out and we've had this nuclear heat, as we call it, where you walk out and the crowd's booing and they want to tear you to shreds. But that generally doesn't last very long. It kind of wears out pretty quick. And once you get beaten up by someone, it kind of dissipates, and then you walk out in 3 or 4 weeks' time, and they're still booing, but there's not that venom there. But for Dominic Mysterio to have maintained that level of venom from the audience for the past, what has it been, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it's been now, and to continue it, it's really impressive, and it's something that's intuitive in him. I think he's really gained an understanding of how this game works, and he continues to work hard and improve every week. So hats off to him. He could have taken the easy route and just glided in daddy's slipstream, but he's gone out there and made himself his own man, and I'm really happy for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wade Barrett.
Boom!
The bad news is Wade Barrett is leaving us, but the good news is we have a massive guest after the break, literally. We'll see you then. Yes, welcome back to the Running on BT Sport. And as you can see, let's hear it for our next guest, Adebayo Akinfenwa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that. I like
How
that.
are we doing? How are we doing? Massive, in every sense of the word, WWE fan. He's been there tonight. How was it?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. The energy, and I was saying off air, like where I was sitting when Roman Reigns came out, there was a dude in front of me, and for 9 minutes straight, he stood up like this.
That's hardcore.
9 minutes. I tried to get his attention. He wasn't having it. It was man. It was amazing. It was amazing.
He was watching the Ashes. That's what the umpire fans are. It's a niche crowd. Cricket, wrestling crossover. Not great, not great. When did your love with wrestling start?
Oh, back in the day. I've got two brothers, older and younger, so the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan days, you know, when you're pillow fighting. So all the way back then, and then, of course, wrestling's evolved and you evolve with it. So I've been a lover since back then.
I hate the idea of a pillow fight with you. I have to be honest. It's
You ain't seen my
can't be very
brothers.
soft.
You ain't seen my brothers. My younger brother's got bigger arms than me. He's gone, so I can say that. And my older brother's bigger than me. So we're like when you see the three of us, we do look like a wrestling trio. So
A good faction right there.
Oi.
Old school.
we could come for a couple people out here, you know what I'm saying? But let's just keep that on a hush-hush.
Well, you know, I'm really happy that we've invited him here today because it's the first time that I'm actually bigger and more yoked than one of our guests. So
Yeah?
this is pretty.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Is that what we're saying now, yeah?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
You know what? One second.
Look at this.
Imagine Bayo. Imagine Bayo in one of these check shirts.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh, yeah. Oh, you got your people then.
You gotta bring your people to boost the ego. By the way, have you ever considered doing this? I mean, you've got the build, you've got the size.
Yeah, you know what? Throughout my whole career, that was always with me.
Really?
When I scored my goals, I used to do the people's elbow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got a shout out to Rock, to be fair. He did
Legend.
tweet me after I did the people's elbow, so shout out to Rock. But yeah, man, and I did one, me and Anthony Ogogo, for Progress Wrestling. Actually, yeah. See, we're repping everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay. I won't get in trouble for doing that, right?
No.
Just checking. Like, say nothing.
That is Anthony Ogogo over there.
Yeah, what's up, Ant? But then I messed up my shoulder, so I couldn't actually throw anybody out the ring. But again, the energy and the connection with the fans, I just think it's unique. And there was like 8-year-olds and 8-year-olds, and that's what I think the beautiful thing about wrestling is. It's multifaceted, and it connects for generations.
I mean, you made a believer out of Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I think I saw him on TalkSport this morning saying that they should strap the rocket to you, send you to the moon.
Yeah. To be fair, and I don't want to brag, but they call me a superstar.
For real?
I ain't gonna lie. Why you sounded shocked?
No, I know you have the greatest strength rating in FIFA history,
Yes.
so you're a superstar in that regard, but
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
else, right?
Oh.
No, that's what I was told.
Oh.
I mean, that's what I was told.
I should give him a DDT right now.
That's what I was told.
should give him a body-to-body suplex
That's what I
right
was
now.
told. You don't want this smoke. You don't want this smoke.
But yeah, no, shout out Becky Lynch and Seth out here. They did big me up on TalkSport. So yeah. So I'm in their corner because they're in my corner. So, but listen, watch this space, man. I do enjoy the wrestling.
Yeah, that's who you're going to have to take on.
Yeah, you're going to be my first opponent.
I could be your manager, by the way.
Oh, you do
I
have
could
got
be
that.
yeah.
So how would you introduce me then if you was my manager?
I would say you're looking at the large. What is your name going to be, by the way?
The Beast.
The Beast. You are look at this presence. Look at this man. Look at this specimen. Arms so big, bigger than my head and his combined. You don't want this smoke. You shoot him with bullets, bounces off him. Sorry if that was too loud. I mean, you see this physique, a Greek god. He is the Beast incarnate 2.0. He is the one and only, the strongest in FIFA history. The man, Beast Mode himself. Give it up.
Come on now, come on. That was the intro.
That's not bad.
Yo.
That's not bad.
You hired. Hey, we got this out here. Paul Newman, watch out, man. Jeez.
Now all we need is the matching shirt. I'd like to see Bayo in that, just busting out.
I think you would look fantastic in a nice plaid.
Yeah, listen, I think I can pull it off. You don't think I can pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I reckon you would literally pull it off.
True that.
So tomorrow night you're going to Money in the Bank as well. It's a mad card. What matches are you most excited for?
You know what? And I don't want to back my guy, but I'm actually looking forward to Logan Paul.
By the way, why don't you want to back me?
I do now because you actually gave me a good intro
that's right.
prior to that. But I'm actually looking forward to like LA Knight as well. You know, he is that throwback, Stone Cold, that rock vibe. You know, for me, he knows how to be able to rile the crowd. But I see Logan Paul, and I actually do think
got
he's
love for Logan. How could you not?
To be fair, since now he's blessed with KSI, now I kind of
only now.
Not only now. Like before that, you know, I was KSI corner, but now they're blessed, so I'm blessed with
What
him.
about that athleticism? Like, a guy's been doing it for a year, and he's flying all over the place.
That's why I respect him highly. He's come in and he don't look out of place, and he's got the hunger and desire. So I look forward to seeing what he's going to bring tomorrow.
Do you have any doubts in what he can do? It is, I mean, you're someone who's come from another world and into wrestling.
Yeah.
And you know exactly how hard that is to do. Is there anything he can't do in this industry?
Do you know what? For me, what it seems out of everything, it's his mentality, his mindset, and he believes himself. He's unapologetically himself, and I think that's what you got to do in any walks of life. So for him, he'll turn around and say he can do anything. He probably thinks he can win a shoulder barge with me in football, which he wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So let's not get mad. Let's not get crazy. But no, it's that mentality of his sort of thing. So listen, for him, if he believes it, he can achieve it.
How many players are winning a shoulder barge a year?
None. I'm telling you, strongest. I'm retired now, so somebody else can take the mantra and that. But you know, if there was a football, I think if Thanos tried to go shoulder to shoulder, he would lose. You know?
Did you ever consider going the NFL route? The other football route?
No, I enjoy being the biggest on the pitch.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
You don't
them
want
NFL boys, they're some big boys.
350 pounders. Yeah. Fair enough. You could have been a good fullback.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, I do, and I'm not name dropping and that, but Travis Kelce and I am, and you know what I'm saying? He was like,
I like how he says he's not name dropping,
and
then he actually named it.
I had to say it up and then say it, you know what I'm
shout out
saying?
to Travis,
so yeah, shout out, you know what I'm saying? Future Hall of Famer and that. So he was saying, you know, the way I walk, the way I talk, the structure and that, I'll be able to hold my own. But I was like, I enjoy just scaring people when I walk on the football pitch. Yeah. They wouldn't be scared of me in the NFL, you know what I mean?
Any other footballers you think that could make it in this world?
I think Van Dijk. To be fair, I think Van Dijk's got the structure, you know what I'm saying? He's got the build, scares a couple. Ibrahimovic could, I think, you know what I'm saying? He's got the athleticism, can do
Tremendous
all that.
abs as well.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let's not talk about abs. I like arms.
I'm just saying,
you know
chest
No, I'm
as
more
well.
arms and chest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You've
I
got
like my
those
chicken.
Bobby Lashley pecs.
You know,
just
it does pop
bursting.
out though, innit?
Yeah, shout out. What about my guy Erling Haaland?
Yeah, you know what? I actually think he could.
Big boy.
I think he's still growing, and that's actually a bit scary. Yeah. But he's still growing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, he probably could do a little bits and bobs.
Yeah, this has been a pretty ab-heavy show so far.
I'm just saying, I like a good pair of abs.
Yeah, I know, and we're going to spend 3 minutes now doing some pretty intense crunches on stage here while we go to this break. And when we come back, we got a few lads who know a few things about abs themselves. We'll see you in a bit.
WWE 2.
Welcome back to The Run-In here on BT Sport. And before we introduce our next guests, we may as well hear from someone who unfortunately beat them tonight. No boy.
Boo. I want to ask you about tonight, SmackDown 02. You're going up against two local guys, pretty deadly, who have been on quite a run since coming up. What do you make of them?
Very entertaining guys. I haven't really been in the ring with them much, so I'll let you know after that, because that's really the one true test. But man, it's going to be a blast. Like I don't know. London's always a great time, and after the last few years of the run we've had, and you know, obviously Sammy being pretty much the biggest star we have at this point, to be in the ring in that setting is going to be really, really exciting for sure. Do you enjoy the opportunity to compete with like fresh blood? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's great to work with guys that you know well and you've been up and down the road with. That's always nice. But when you get new people, new ideas, new mindsets, it's great because sometimes they have terrible ideas, terrible mindsets, and you get to kind of be like, oh, what the hell's going on? But it's obviously not the case with these people. If that was the case, these guys wouldn't have made it where they are now. So I'm looking forward to work with them and just see, I don't know, experiencing this with people that have, like, this is probably one of the biggest things they've done. You know, they're in there. Yeah, so to be in the ring, it's like, that's another thing I get a lot of enjoyment out of is sharing moments with people that we can look back on later and be like, man, that was special. That's always fun. Hopefully that's one of them.
Kevin Owens there talking about two tasty snacks, two ravishing legends, two good time boys. Kit Wilson, Elton Prince, what a joy to have Pretty Deadly on the stage.
Yes, boy!
Oh,
yes, boy!
Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
Yes, boy! Yes, boy!
Welcome back to London, where you belong.
Oh my God, I had an English breakfast this morning.
Yeah. Tell them what you had.
I had scrambled eggs.
Yes, boy.
I had hash browns.
Yes, boy.
I had sausages.
Yes, boy.
I had baked beans.
Yes, boy.
I had water.
Yes, boy.
I think that was
Hashes,
it, really.
hash browns.
I think I said hash browns.
Oh, yeah, I said both.
Hash browns.
It's just the hash browns in America aren't the same, you know. So I feel like
Nothing's
we need to
the
put some
same.
emphasis on the
Any
good
haggis?
old English
Any
hash.
haggis?
No haggis.
Is that-
Are you thinking of black pudding?
Come on.
No, haggis. Isn't that a British thing?
It's a Scottish thing.
It's not
And it doesn't go with
It's
breakfast.
not all the same.
Get out.
It's not all the same.
Get
These
out.
Americans,
Do this by yourself.
These Americans. Yeah. Terrible.
I'm just going to sit here.
You've been embarrassed and ashamed. Kevin Owens saying nice things about you there, but do you hate him now?
Yeah, of course. You know, biggest opportunity of our lives tonight, and they took it away from us. So yeah, I'm not gonna say good things back. I'm not.
You've nailed that.
Thank you. Yeah. I'll keep it simple.
Well, you look fantastic despite the bad news today. I'm sorry.
Sweet. Thank you.
And how was it being out there? Because it was a raucous crowd.
Wow, do you know what? I'll say this, we weren't sure ourselves. Obviously, we're UK boys, and this felt like our crowd, but when we joined NXT UK, it was kind of in that like pandemic era, so we had no crowd, then we had what seemed like 40, 50 people, then we kind of got shipped over to America, so we didn't really feel like we had a relationship necessarily with the crowd. We did some stuff on the independents, but again, we never reached, hey, yeah, go on!
God, that's like independence.
We never really reached a high level. Or at least we didn't feel like we did, and we had that rapport with the crowd. So we weren't sure, but I loved it. I had a great time.
Your rise to the top of the tag team division has been stratospheric. That's a long word that I brought out just because I like you guys.
People have been saying meteoric as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a bad
Have
one.
you got one?
Not a bad one. Tremendous?
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not as good.
not really sticking with the
Not as
theme,
good.
but
No.
close enough.
You're 0 for 2 at the minute. I'll say that. You're 0 for 2.
Fair enough. It's been a tough night. It's a
Head
long
for
night.
free.
By the
Head
way,
for free.
that interview that just aired, I'm wearing the same shirt. We did that at like 9. It's been a long day for me. Can I get a round of applause for my long day or no?
It's a long day.
No, nothing. Absolutely. It's not about me. It's not about me. No, please stop. It's not about me. Go ahead.
But it's no surprise, I think it would be no surprise to a lot of the people here to see that you've had this sort of shoot to the top. Because even in those NXT UK pandemic days you were talking about, you know, you two were the ones that were trying to find all the cameras, do the mad little sketches and find a way of getting your characters over and doing all the extra bits to make sure that you went further than everyone else. Do you feel like it's all starting to pay off now?
Yeah, I think so. I think we've managed to get away with just nonsense for the last couple of years, basically.
You're a ridiculous man.
Yes, but somehow it's working. So, no, I think we've obviously put a lot of time in, a lot of effort to try and get the characters over and try and show that it's not just like a one-dimensional character. And I think now we're kind of reaping the rewards of it after this stratospherical rise.
But you know what? Even with that meteoric rise, there's still more work to be done.
Absolutely. You've just scratched the surface. But if we could take a step back about tonight, I mean, just a few months ago, you weren't on the main roster. You just competed at the O2 Arena, the world-famous O2 Arena. You are local boys doing big things, bringing some prestige back to the tag team division. Did you allow yourselves a moment, perhaps before the match, after the match, even though it didn't go your way, to stop and smell the flowers and say, look how far we have come. We just competed in front of our own people in the biggest venue possible here in the arena world for the belts, on SmackDown, live. It's a big, big deal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I almost had that moment here right now. You're kind of walking us through it.
Well, I feel like we always kind of look at what's next and you have to stop and smell the flowers sometimes.
Yeah, you do, and I do think that's the beauty of us being a team. We've always had each other, and we're best friends. We're life partners of sorts. We've always had each other, so kind of we get to share that moment before we go out on the curtain, and we shout "Yes, boy" a lot, but that's kind of like a real life thing as well. Like before we're going out, we'll kind of take a moment to be like, "Yes, boy." Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. Yes, boy. And you just kind of, you let the emotions come to you, whether it's nerves, whether it's this, whether it's that, and it kind of builds in a positive way. So when we walk out, it feels like hopefully we can smell the flowers.
Yeah, I think one thing that kind of made it all a bit more real is that we were chatting, people were asking, like, do we have family coming to watch and stuff like that? And we were explaining how, the last show that any of our family members came to watch would have been, 100 people, 200 people max. And then, obviously looking at today, a sold-out O2. I think that kind of sunk in of like, I guess things have gone all right, actually.
Yeah. Has it been a surprise to you how quick it happened?
Nah, we're really good.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes, boy! Yes, boy! Well, I mean, yeah, this is always what we've been shooting for. Since getting signed, we were like, we want this. When we joined NXT UK, we want the championships. Then it kind of went to NXT, and we were like, do you know what? We want every single tag team title going, and that's still the goal. We're still heading towards there. Just talking about the division in general, amazing that it main evented WrestleMania of Night 1. That's the direction we want to head in. So it's a goal that we kind of want to get to and feel like we are going to get to. But then, it's another thing getting there. But I'm just excited. I don't even know where I'm going.
Your success as well has also proven, I guess it's proven a lot of people right that were working on it at the time about NXT UK and how much talent there was there that maybe weren't getting the audience they deserved. But there's so many of you up here now.
Come on, let's go through them. Because you know what? NXT UK, beautiful.
Beautiful. NXT UK was
and dare I say, underappreciated.
I agree.
Because
Definitely
you get
underappreciated.
maybe the best two, Pretty Deadly. Nailed it. They've done so well. But
I like both of them,
you got
yeah.
Gunter. You got all sorts. We got Tyler Bate. We've got Butch. We've got Ridge Holland. I mean, if you just look at the majority of the main roster now, there's such a big influence from NXT UK. Rhea,
Piper.
Yeah.
Piper. Just Dragunov. I mean, we can name them all day. We can just keep going.
Basically, we're taking over. That's what it is. We're going to take over the whole of the WWE. It's just going to just be Brits and Europeans when we're finished with it. That's the plan.
It's great. You're going to make so many faux pas.
Oh, my God. I can't wait. I would love to know, though, since this is my first time meeting you guys, and I'm enjoying your vibe, and I love your style, by the way. Tremendous style. Can we give a shout-out to their style? Guys who are very confident and able to pull any look off. Two questions, if I may. Number one, how did you initially meet? And number two, who are your influences as far as your style is concerned? Are there any inspirations?
The meet story is quite fun, actually.
It was a meet cute.
It's definitely a meet cute, of course.
Yeah.
We used to actually, I don't know if everyone knows this, but we were actually rival models back in the day. And we were on a catwalk, and we didn't realize that, but there was two catwalks at the same time. And obviously we're strutting.
like dual catwalks, wasn't it?
Yep, two at the same time, a dual catwalk, if you will. And so, we're strutting along, we're doing our thing, and it came to the big moment at the end.
The big pose off. Everyone's got a pose. I had my signature move.
And I didn't know he was to my right, and I guess he didn't know I was to his left, and we just hit a big, "Hey, yes, boy!"
Wow.
And that's how it all started.
And it just kind of clicked from there. Wow. Just kind of clicked from there, yeah. And that's friendship.
All right.
And now talk to me about your influences,
Yes,
boy.
please. Your
Influences.
Question two.
Oh, fashion influences. Yeah. Wow. God, I wish this wasn't live because I'd like to take a few minutes to think.
You guys are good on your feet.
Look at the fashion we're
Got
shooting.
the Cubans on.
I didn't notice those.
I'll say this:
those are
no
tremendous.
socks today.
No socks. Interesting.
I regret it. It was a
Sweaty?
mistake.
Sweaty?
Yeah. Not by purpose.
Okay.
There's a lot of guys. Prince, obviously, I think is a big one. Kind of pushing that envelope. Kind of we've had what do we have? That was the. We had this nice yellow piece in NXT UK we wore, and that was a direct Prince copy. I don't think people copped onto that, but
I don't think they copped. No, we also sorry, boy. That one was a layup. When we first started, the main thing we took inspiration was from Matty Healy from the 1975.
Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to them.
Oi, oi.
That was where it all started, and then obviously we kind of realised that I think we can put a bit more colour in there. I think we can go a bit further, and then now to the point where you see the ridiculous garms that we're wearing nowadays. But I think we've kind of realised that if you wear anything with confidence, no one cares and everyone respects it and thinks, you know what, they look good. So
you just feel good.
You feel good. You look good. You feel good.
While we're talking about footwear and tag team divisions, let's talk about civil war in the bloodline. Four Samoans and nice trainers beating each other up at the end of SmackDown tonight.
What a segue as well. What a segue.
It's all right, bro.
I know. I thought about that for the whole 2 minutes.
He's been sitting on that one.
Stewing on it.
Trainers.
Seeing that story and the way that everyone's so invested in it, being a tag team, seeing that they did the main event at the first night of WrestleMania this year, you must be loving the fact that story is so good, and it's tag team division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truly. The Usos have always been on top of their game, and somehow in the past, 2 years, they've just kind of leveled up, right? And it's kind of inspiring to just see and watch and kind of be this close to it.
Yeah, I mean, their career is like longer than majority of tag teams, and yet here they are 15 years on, and now they're a part of the largest storyline in WWE history for the last, however many years. And I think it's just, it's definitely inspirational. And obviously, like similar to what Kit said earlier, ideally, one day we can also main event WrestleMania.
You will.
So, yeah.
You will.
There's 2 nights.
Believe, achieve. I don't know what that saying is. Conceive, believe, achieve. I think that's it.
That'll do. Yeah.
Michael
Yeah,
Bisping
I mean, you have to
said
do
that.
it at the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. By the way, who is the greatest tag team of all time?
Do you know what? I think they've done it. I think it's the Usos.
Really?
Yeah, I think we have to give it to them.
I think we're here.
What makes them so special from a tag team's point of view?
I think a huge thing for us is the growth. It's very easy to wrestle and to have a character and stuff, but to be able to evolve it year after year, I think that's something that maybe doesn't always go noticed, but it's very easy for people to get bored of people or people to be like searching for something new, and yet they're always just bringing a new product, something new to the characters, something new to the people, and I think that's the thing we have to credit them for, and that's obviously something that we'll try and do ourselves. So when you see us walking around with a mustache one day and a perm, just don't be surprised. We're trying.
Yeah, that's the obvious path. I think that's what it takes, isn't it?
I'm surprised, though, that we've given you 2 softballs here in terms of your fashion and tag team division. And I was told that you are, quote-unquote, Heartbreak Kids kids. And no shout-out to Shawn Michaels, a mentor of yours. I'm a little bit disappointed in you guys. I thought this was a perfect opportunity to give a shout-out to the legend HBK.
Do you have a smart response for that?
Do I have a smart response?
Twice I tried to lay it up for you.
Well, a legend of the game, but when we're talking tag team wrestling, obviously
The Rockers.
I know DX and the Rock. Let me finish. Boy. I'm gonna get there.
He's a little flustered right now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put you on the
pressure.
spot.
I don't see you answering, so don't start with me, boy.
Let's talk fashion.
Okay.
Let's talk the Heartbreak Kid. More importantly, the Heartbreaks. Oh, I've messed up. I'm flustered.
Go again, one more time. You got
the
it.
Heartbreak Kid. It's kids.
Yes.
Wow, and that's
There
us.
it is.
That man had mirrors on him. That man had sparklies on him. That man had a little bit of leather on him. That man had, what do you call it, chaps?
Chaps.
Yeah.
Oh,
them
my
chapos.
goodness.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He was
Cow
bringing-
print.
Cow
Remember
print.
those?
Yeah. Well, we had cow print in NXT, and
Yeah.
you could say that was inspired by.
That's what I was
Heartbreak
getting at.
Kid.
That's what I was
Another
getting
layer.
at.
What are the performance benefits of chaps? I've always been interested to know.
I think you feel good,
Okay.
you perform better.
Yeah, I think, the obvious one, you could argue a lack of chafe, perhaps. That's it feels like the obvious answer. I'm not happy about it, but...
And do you chafe much?
Well, what's the next one? What you got?
Well, actually, the next one is actually about chafing. Is the difference between you and Usos just more chafing in the Pretty Deadly camp?
I think that's all it is, yeah. I think that's all it is.
All right, then, guys. Well, let's hear it for Pretty Deadly.
Yes, boy!
Performing in front of a sold-out crowd in the O2 this evening. SmackDown has found their new stars in these two. They've got massive, massive futures. You love them. We love them. And on that note, let's move on to tomorrow night because it's Money in the Bank and everyone's very excited. It's going to be on BT Sport Box Office 2 starting at 8 p.m. We will see you there. Thank you. Good night.